Hello friends, this is Russian Toits here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to set up a little Betta aquarium. So this is going to be a pretty simple aquarium setup, nothing fancy, but it's a good way to get you started. So what do you need? Well, first thing you're going to need is the actual aquarium itself. I have this nice little 1.7 gallon aquarium right here. It's a hexagonal plexiglass aquarium. It's really light. It's not that much space, but it's enough for betta fish. You're gonna want to have a filter as well. With this aquarium kit you get an under gravel filter, which is this thing right here. It's essentially just an air stone connected to airline tubing to an air pump that draws water through the gravel and uses the gravel as filter media. Pretty neat stuff. You will obviously also need gravel and some little decorations. Gravel is really optional, but I want to put some live plants in here, so in this case I need the gravel. And the decoration is just to provide the betta fish some space to hide. Now, plants are not necessarily, you don't need live plants in the aquarium. You can also go with fake aquarium plants. They provide the betta fish with spaces to hide and to lie in. Hi Ali, I know. The benefit of live plants, of course, is that they will not cut the betta fish's fins, because live plants are not made out of a hard plastic. If you do go with fake plants, you want to make sure that you go with silk aquarium plants, because those will be the least damaging to the betta fish's fins. And of course, in the end, you will need a betta fish as well. These come in many shapes, colors, and sizes, so just pick whichever one is the most active at the pet store. Try to not go with whichever one's your favorite color. Pick the one that looks the healthiest. So let's get to actually setting up our betta fish aquarium. First thing you're going to want to do is usually to put in the gravel, but we are working with an under gravel filter, so your first step is going to be to plop that under gravel filter into the aquarium. I'm going to move it all the way to the back of the aquarium, just because I don't want that tube to be in the way of anything. So I'm just going to plop that all the way into the back of the aquarium. The next step will be to add the gravel. Now make sure the gravel is obviously aquarium safe and washed. This is just some black gravel right in here with some little colorful bits in there. I don't really like those colorful bits, but I'm not going to go and pick them all out. So you just want to make sure that you add the gravel carefully to the aquarium so you don't scratch any of the plexiglass. An easy way to do this is just to grab the cup that your betta probably came in. Most pet stores sell them in cups. And just scoop that washed gravel out of your container, like so, and add it carefully to the bottom of your tank. If you're also using an under gravel filter like me, you want to make sure that it's completely covered in gravel, as the gravel will be your filter media. Otherwise, you can pretty much put the gravel in that aquarium whichever way you like. Just make sure it's spread as evenly as you want it to be. Next step is to add any decorations that you want. I have this little natural looking hut thing that I want to add to the enclosure. So I'm just going to plop that right near the back, just so it's going to be hidden by some of the live plants. With that added, you can also add any fake plants that you want to the aquarium. Now I'm not going to go with fake plants. I'm just going to go add live plants, which would be the next step. You got to make sure the gravel, of course, is deep enough for the plants that you plan on putting in there. I just want to put in some anarchists, as you can see, and a Anubias. So these are not plants that require any really deep gravel, so they should be fine, to be honest. So I'm just going to plop them right in there to create a nice looking aquascape. A really useful tool when you're doing this are aquarium tweezers. So these are just really nice and long tongs, actually not tweezers. And it makes it easy to reach into the aquarium, as you can see here, and plant everything without having to get your whole hand in there. Also, it's great later on if you do stir up any plants while you're planting, you can just tuck them back into the gravel with this without having to get your hand in the tiny little aquarium. So I'm going to start off just by putting the anarchists near the back next to the cave and the Anubias further in the front. It's not a lot of plants, but I think it should still look fairly decent at the end. After you've placed the plants at least close to how you want them in the aquarium, the The next step is to fill the aquarium up with some water to see if the plants float up. So that's what we're going to do. I got some water over here, which as you can see has some shrimp in it, which are also going to go into this aquarium because I have nowhere else to put them. So they're also going to go to this aquarium. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of water in just to see how the plants are doing. Add the shrimp, add the betta fish, and then this aquarium is going to be good to go. A little tip when adding water, don't pour the water straight on the gravel. Instead, pour it on like a piece of decoration there. So I'm going to pour my water onto the hut. If you have a large enough aquarium, you can also add a plate to the aquarium and pour the water onto the plate. This way you do not disturb the gravel and other decorations in the aquarium, and that's just a good idea, because otherwise all this hard work that you've done will have been for nothing. Alright, as you can see, most of the plants stayed where they're supposed to stay. They're not growing really nicely right now. They're not going up, they're going all over the place. That's just because plants grow towards the light, and these have not had a chance to grow towards the light yet because they're freshly planted. So within a day, really, these should all be pointing straight up like they're supposed to. But I like the way this looks so far. So the next step obviously would be to add the betta fish. I'm going to add the shrimp first just because that's easier with a net. I'm going to add the betta fish and I'm going to put this where it's supposed to be, and it's going to be all good. When you add water to your aquarium, of course you want to make sure it's dechlorinated. I didn't realize I need to say this, but I work at a pet store and a lot of people come in and don't realize that tap water is not safe for betta fish. So either you use a bottled water, or the cheaper option is that you buy yourself a bottle of dechlorinator, which will look a little something like this. And this essentially removes chlorine and chloramine from the tap water, making it safe for all fish. There's also specific betta fish water conditioner. You really don't need this. It's just a cash grab for the brands that make this stuff. So you can just go with a regular water conditioner. You do not need this fancy betta fish water conditioner at all. So, time to catch some shrimp, which I did not capture on the video there at all, but there's one red cherry shrimp in the net. And there it goes into its new home. Now I'm going to do the same thing with these two amano shrimp in here. Now amano shrimp are great algae eaters, which is why I wanted them in this aquarium as well, just to help keep the real plants safe. They're also great jumpers, so I'm going to put the camera away to move this guy, because otherwise he's going to jump out of the net. Alrighty, now the last step is to add your betta fish. Really you don't want to use a fish net to move your betta. The net can get caught in their fins. Instead you want to be using the same cup that the betta came in to catch it. And this is just a personal preference from having worked with bettas for a couple of years now. I don't like nets. It tears at their fins. It's a lot easier to just grab your cup and scoop the betta fish up into your cup. Usually, anyways. There we go. All good to go. So I'm just going to take the betta fish. They're pretty hardy fish. I'm not going to eliminate them, even though that would be a smart idea, to be honest. And he's just going to go straight into his new home. Temperatures are pretty similar. And there we go. Oh, that's a bright light. One new betta fish. Happiness home. Alright, and with the filter all plugged in, this betta fish aquarium is now good to go and situated quite nicely in the corner of my desk next to my little shrimp aquarium and mason jar aquarium. So thank you guys for watching. Hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe for more content on betta fish, but also on all sorts of reptiles and other cool stuff. Thanks.